Let me first introduce Jay and then we can start on time. So our next guest seamlessly blends the art of storytelling with the science of hyper growth. He is an investor, a branding expert, and a visionary founder of Poised Media, where he has transformed digital landscapes for Fortune 500 giants and rising startups alike. Universally recognized as Gujarat's premier podcaster, his conversations have captivated an audience of millions, unpacking the untold stories, journeys of India's biggest visionaries, cultural icons, and industry titans. I'm very proud to say that he is the only one from Gujarat and one among the only two from India who has been invited to UK Parliament, House of Commons. To his credit, he has more than 140 podcasts, more than 325K subscribers on YouTube, more than 1.5 million on Insta distribution, more than 600 million views in total in a year, with more than 60 to 70 million views every month. In the domain of personal branding, which he also professionally practices, he believes in something interesting which says not just views, but respect and recognition. We create a brand persona that suits your stature and create content to establish you as a thought leader in your own domain. Who better than him could have been an expert speaker for this topic called creating a personal brand? So, with big applaud, let us welcome the entrepreneur growth mentor and the host of Gujarat's number one podcast, Jay Thadeshwar. Welcome, Jay.
Thank you so much, sir. Such a wonderful introduction. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Hi, everyone. Hello.
Hi.
So we have more than 80 participants.
Hello, how are you? Welcome.
Hello, how are you? Good afternoon.
Very good afternoon.
Thanks. Okay. Now I hear some voices, some energy. Thank you.
Please.
All right. So it's a very interesting topic, and the conversation is also going to be very interesting. My style of conducting sessions is a little different. I would speak only for let's say 20 to 30 minutes, and then we will open the floor for question answers, and that is where the real value will come out.
Yeah, if you don't mind, can I request all the audience to switch on their videos so that we can have a good conversation? We don't feel like talking to computers. Yeah, please. Yeah. Thank you.
All beautiful people.
Yeah.
All right, perfect. So personal branding. The biggest and the best example of personal branding in this world is, I feel, is Elon Musk, right? Just yesterday I was sitting with somebody and I was telling him that when you travel abroad, right, on the roads, if you try and spot Tesla, out of 10 cars, hardly 2 will be Teslas, right? But if you look at the market valuation, the market cap, Tesla is more than the market cap of all other car companies combined. Right, all the combustion engine legacy players combined, Tesla value still more than them. So it's the power of personal branding and in this faith in Elon Musk that the world has, that he has some way created that he will deliver the kind of valuation or kind of multiple that we're looking at. So yeah, personal branding is not a novelty anymore, right? It's a must in today's day and age. Since last 2-3 years, we are seeing that a lot of founders are now coming online. They are talking to their audience, they are sharing their stories, and they are being as transparent, as real as possible on social media. And those who are doing this are really reaping the benefit. So this is the age of founder-led growth, right? I mean, there was time, let's say 15-20 years back, when if we wanted to buy something, we would look for a brand that we've seen more, brand that we trust, or we have some kind of relationship, or let's say our previous generation had been using and we had some amount of trust in that brand, and then we would just go and buy from that brand. But today's generation has started questioning the legacy brands, and this you will see across all categories, right? For example, if you want to have a coffee, you would rather go to a specialty coffee center where the founder or founder talks about coffee than going to Starbucks, right? And most of you would agree that you would only go to Starbucks if you want to have a meeting or some place where you want to peacefully work. So you go for the ambience and the environment, not for the coffee. For coffee, you would rather go to a founder who talks about coffee, who is accessible, who you seem to recognize and know, right? And similarly, this is a story across different platforms. For example, if you want to have some sweet snacks, right, you would rather buy whole fruit foods, right, than some brand which has been selling chocolates so far, and then now suddenly they came up with a protein bar. So you would rather go with whole fruit food because the founder every day comes and talks about how the brand was created, right? So things have changed. People have started asking, where's the founder? I want to see the founder. I want to listen to his ideas or her ideas, and the whole story behind the brand. So this is not a novelty anymore. It is one of the key or essential requirements of business, that you have to be publicly visible. According to a data point, the founders who are more visible, founders who have started personal branding, who have started creating content, uh, they are getting 300% more visibility and even revenue sometimes than the founders who don't. And the calculation is very simple. Let's say, if you want to hire an interior designer, whom will you ping? You will ping the guys that you are seeing regularly on your Instagram or on LinkedIn, right? Rather than going on Google and searching for somebody, and then seeing reviews, and then taking that blind leap of faith, and reaching out to them and setting up a meeting, and then you spend some time understanding. So it's a whole process that we used to do 5 years back, but now we already have a few names in our heads, that we see these guys regularly, and you directly reach out to them. So the dynamics have changed. Customers have started asking for founders, and it's not a directly said ask, but founders are visible, invariably get better benefits. So it's given that customers want to see more of the founders, and that is when the personal brand becomes very, very important. So today we are going to discuss what forms a personal brand, what are the key ingredients of a personal brand, the anatomy of a personal brand, how to go about creating one, right? So the technicalities behind it, and then how to leverage it. So these are the three key parts of the whole conversation that we are going to focus on, right? So first of all, let's understand what a personal brand is. Personal brand is basically the extension of your thoughts and ideas, well articulated in front of the audience on social media. The platform could be anything. It could be LinkedIn, it could be Instagram, it could be YouTube, it could be anything. As long as you are going out there on social media, on any of these platforms, talking freely, authentically about what you feel, your story, how you figured out the solutions and what problems you're trying to solve, right? That is the personal brand. That is what people are there to consume. Now, what matters most in this personal brand creation journey is the authenticity, right? You could be a little average in your articulation, that's fine. Aesthetically, you could be average, it's fine, but authenticity has to be there, right? Or authenticity kahan se aati hai? It's not about highlighting your fears and anxieties and being vulnerable. It's about alignment between what you truly feel, what you truly do, and what you truly say, right? So whatever that you're saying, are you really implementing it? Whatever you're highlighting, is it how your business functions, right? For example, when the founder of Whole Truth Food talks about no sugar in any of their offerings, right, it invariably makes the products more expensive. So he frankly comes and says that our products are expensive, and they are going to get more expensive because we don't use any processed sugar. We only use natural sweeteners, and that to high quality dates and stuff. So for that reason, our products are going to get more expensive. If the geographical, if the geopolitical situation worsens, right, if the wars break out, and if that increases the prices of the raw material, the founder will come out and say that this is what is happening, and because of which our raw material prices have increased, and we are going to increase our price, and we would prefer that rather reducing the quantity or quality, right? So they are that authentic, that honest about what they are doing in their day-to-day lives, right? So business is out there in public, and the founder is creating that transparent window through which you can recognize him, you can recognize their thoughts, their values, their ethos, and also how the business functions. So that is when people directly connect with, right? And that is what the new age customer is demanding. Also, since a lot of founders have started creating content, it has become now a norm and an unsaid requirement that this is bare minimum that you should do, right? But there are ways in which you can do it a little better than the rest and really make the most out of it while you are at it and while you're doing it, right? The idea is to make the most of it. So authenticity is very important. What you do, what you say, what you portray, it should really be seen in your in your day-to-day execution, and in your products and in your services and in your values. Number one. Number two, what really matters in creating a personal brand is value delivery. So just by showcasing authenticity, right, you will get appreciation that this founder is authentic, but it will not yield your followers becoming a community. So it will not give you a community of followers who really love your brand, who really like your content, and who look up to you. For that, value delivery is extremely important. Just in my introduction, sir said that it's not just about visibility, it's about visibility with respect, and respect will come from value delivery. And consistent value delivery is very important here. Right from the day you start creating content, right, you need to constantly give something to your audience which they did not know before, right, or which they did not have access to before. Something that really makes them feel that this founder really cares, right? While we spend our couple of minutes on his or her content, right, he or she really cares, right, to give us some value, right, each day with the content. So that is really important. So consistent value delivery will eventually earn you respect and will eventually create a community that supports your brand and would want to at least give your brand a shot if let's say you are coming up with something new, right? So that community of supporters will only come when we are delivering value. Then comes the third part, which is the overall design language of your brand. So there are a lot of founders within your industry. Also, there would be a lot of founders. Since you deliver the same service or similar kind of products and services, of course your products also would look somewhat similar. So how do you create distinction? So there are different ways in which you can create distinction. One could be, one and the most authentic way of creating distinction is the way you deliver your content, right? So if you have your authentic style, you're being yourself, so that itself is a great differentiator. But since we're talking about using our personal brand for business, there needs to be some design language also for your brand. So what kind of fonts you're using, what kind of color themes that you're using, what kind of background you're creating content in, what kind of formats you are using, right? For each and everything you need to have some sort of design language. And if you're getting this sorted at the beginning, it's better rather than figuring out along the way, right? Since you are a founder, let's say you are a marketing professional and you know how advertising and marketing works, and there's design language for every brand. Now we are talking about converting your your personal presence as a brand, right? Then the design language also matters, so that needs to be sorted. Then comes the consistency, right? People, when you start creating content, they expect to see you every now and then, and some of them are actually looking forward to your content when you start delivering value, right? So consistency is really important. For example, let's say if I'm posting 5 different types of content, I'm posting videos. Within videos, I have a variety of different types where I tell a story, or I highlight a problem and then give a solution, or I share some anecdote, or I some testimonial. So these are different formats of the videos. Then let's say I'm doing some carousel, I'm doing some statics. Now, if there is no consistency, if people don't know what to expect and when, none of my content will do well, or some of them, rarely some of them would do well. But if people know what to expect and when there is a consistent flow of doing something at a designated time which follows a certain frequency, people look up to your content. For example, if you look at Raj Shamani's feed, right, it's very well organized. So what he does is, in a week he releases 3 podcasts, right? He does 2 quotes and one personal album, one personal story in weekend or so, right? And once that album is delivered, once the weekend is over, he hides, right, the personal story, and keeps only the quotes and the podcasts and the personal videos on the feed, right? So people expect that if it's Wednesday, आज podcast का clip आएगा, if it's Thursday, आज कोई personal clip आएगा, if it's Friday, आज कोई quote आएगा, right? So people expect, and that is why it works. Now if I'm not doing quotes regularly, if I'm not doing carousels regularly, suddenly one day I think that I want to do a carousel with, explaining some concept with text and my photos or some images, it's not going to work because it's an aberration. People are used to consuming videos on my profile, and if I suddenly post an experimental content, it's not going to work well. पहला नहीं चलेगा, दूसरा ठीक ठाक चलेगा, तीसरा थोड़ा और बेटर चलेगा, पांचवे से वो चलना शुरू हो जाएगा, बिकॉज नाउ पीपल आर लुकिंग फॉरवर्ड टू इट. पीपल हैव स्टार्टेड एक्सेप्टिंग कि ये प्रोफाइल से भी कराउजल आ सकता है, ये प्रोफाइल से भी स्टैटिक आ सकता है. So frequency and consistency of that frequency is extremely important, and most founders fail while creating personal brand at consistency, because of course you're busy, you have several other things to take care of. Either don't start, and if you're starting, follow frequency, follow that consistency, without which, let's say, you could be creating content for 6 months, but if you're not consistent, you will not create any community, you will not create loyal followers, you will not create that visibility. But if you're consistent, right, within 3 months you will realize that people have started recognizing you, people have started considering you as a domain expert in your industry or in your category, right? And that is why the consistency is extremely important. So these are like 4 key ingredients of creating a good personal brand. Now it could be overwhelming to start content creation when you have never faced camera in the past, right? When you face camera for the first time, you will hate everything about yourself, right? The first clip that you will take on camera or even on your phone, you will not like your voice, you will find everything that is wrong with your skin, right? You will find everything that's wrong with your outfit, with your style, with your hair, right? You will only see bad things because you're not used to doing that. Imposter syndrome, that I mean, I don't belong to content creation, and that demotivates a lot of founders. But if you just keep at it, right, first video will be a little rough, below average, second, third will be a little better, then you will start realizing what are your comfort areas, right? And your tone of delivering a message, your delivery, right, will eventually start taking a shape which is your authentic camera facing self. And once you figure that out, journey onwards is very easy. It's very comfortable. Then you will create some sort of relationship, friendship with your camera, and then things will come naturally to you. So at start it will feel very, very overwhelming. Don't back out, don't get overwhelmed, just keep at it. Couple of videos you will realize what really works and what doesn't, what are your strengths and weaknesses. You will realize which profile suits you better. You will realize what kind of words, if I speak right, my throw comes out better, and my overall speech looks really well structured, right? You will realize what kind of articulation gives you comfort to deliver your message. So those things will eventually come out. So yeah, that is something that you develop over a period of time. So don't get overwhelmed when you face the camera, number one. Number two, when you are creating content, when you're starting to create content, be ready for at least 10 to 15 content pieces to start with. If you'll create one and post it, you will see that the results are not coming. It will demotivate you, right? It will spoil your day, trust me. You will do again the second day, third day, the platform is not used to give you organic reach of the people who don't follow you, and you will not get good engagement. And sometimes you will also feel this self-doubt that what if people laugh, what if people think yaar ye kya karna nikla, ye to dhanda karta tha, business karta tha, what he has suddenly started doing. And all those insecurities will start playing out in your head. People don't think anything about you, but these insecurities will start messing with your head and will demotivate you. But if you have a bank of 10 to 15 content pieces ready across different types, right, just post them without expecting anything. Just keep posting them, right? And once you reach 7th or 8th post, you will start seeing people recognizing you, appreciating your content, sending you personal messages, say, hey, this was really good and I could relate with it, this video was really nice. And once you start getting those kind of feedbacks, your confidence will further grow and you would want to create more videos. So at least create a bank of 10 to 15 content pieces before you post your first one. That is why what I did when I started creating content. I didn't directly start with podcast. I started creating content in English first about advertising and communication. I would have posted more than 40 videos across different topics in advertising, communication, AI, marketing, startups, some shocking news, within the startup industry and stuff like that. So that gave me confidence. I started a series also, Starbucks Saturdays. So I bought a book which had some secret stories about Starbucks, what makes Starbucks really special, and we started doing videos of each chapter every Saturday, right? So I did all of that. In that, while doing that, I discovered my comfort area, and slowly and gradually, with the feedback of the audience, understanding my own strengths, my content pivoted slowly and gradually towards self development, personal growth related content. And parallelly, I started podcast also, in which also I was doing only English and Hindi podcasts of the people from the industry, right? Creative directors, account directors, brand managers, those kind of people I was interviewing. But I realized that the Gujarati audience is not yet completely ready for consuming that kind of content, right? And then eventually I started exploring some more generic guests, and I started inviting actors, politicians, and they started agreeing, and we started getting the results. So that is how my content pivoted. The idea is to start, be consistent. Eventually you will figure out your comfort zone, you will figure out your audience, you will figure out what really works, you will figure out what really gives you numbers. And then it's all on in how you assess the numbers, how you assess the feedback of the audience, right? So this constant reading of the feedback of the audience is also really important. After I was like 2-3 months old into content creation, right? I developed this eye of identifying where the engagement really drops, where people's interest really drop. And we started looking at video clinically and completely objectively, completely detaching myself from the product, from the content piece. And we started observing the engagement patterns. So at what second people are really dropping, what kind of content is getting engagement above 5%, what kind of skip rate we are getting in different types of videos. If I'm posting carousel or statics, what kind of people are really engaging with it, how many of them are engaging with it, right? So let's say if my video usually gets about 2000 likes in a day, when I started, and if I post a carousel and if I'm getting only 200 likes, it will first feel demotivating. But when you look at those 200 people and you see all of them are really quality people, right? They're all founders, they're all people who consume high quality content, you would want to do more of it. And then only that set of people, right, would look up to more such content from your profile. And that is how you will eventually create a community who looks up to certain kind of content on your page. So it's very important to read the feedback of the audience, right? And social media gives you all sorts of analytics, right? Now what really matters to get visibility, आपने ये सब कर लिया, कंटेंट बैंक भी बना लिया, कंटेंट पोस्ट करना स्टार्ट भी कर लिया, you won over your self doubt also, you started assessing the feedback also. But how do you get your visibility accelerated? How do you get virality? Eventually, after, let's say, you have been doing this for 15-20 days or a month, then you would want your content to go viral. Then you will not be happy with just 1000 or 2000 views that you're getting regularly, right? You would want more of it, right? And for example, when I started content creation, I had 500 followers, right? With those 500 followers, when I used to post something, I used to get about 60-70 likes and hardly about 700-800 views. तो 200-300 मेरे फॉलोअर्स में से आ जाते थे, बाकी के एक्सटर्नल ऑडियंस, पीपल हु डोंट फॉलो मी, और ये सबका एंगेजमेंट मिला के कुछ 60-70 likes. 15 days old into content creation, I started getting about 200-300 likes on my videos. If I'm posting anything in a day, I would get 200-300. 2 months down the line, I would not be happy if my content does not get at least 1000 likes in a day, right? And right now we are at a stage where anything that gets less than 4000 likes in an hour is a failed video for us. That content is not working. Immediately goes into the feedback loop. We started assessing what went wrong in this video. Was the topic not right? Was the structure not right? Was the delivery not right? Was the hook not right? We start assessing everything, right? So eventually you start clinically assessing your content, the feedback, and you start course correction on a regular basis. And that is how you eventually win the audience. Now suppose you've created following of 10,000 people who really love your content, regularly watching you, engaging with you. After a point, you will get bored with those 10,000 also. You would want more people to join you. You would want messages from new set of people. You would want a different genre of audience to come and engage with you. And that is when you experiment with new content types. Right? So it's a journey. Creating a personal brand is a journey. We went too technical into how to go about it, but the steps to start is first articulate your positioning, what you really stand for, what your true authentic self is, articulate it very clearly, what you truly believe in, what you really offer, what you really do. That is your positioning, and what you want people to think about you basis whatever resources and background that you have, and what you offer. Then create a list of topics that you want to talk about first, be it your carousels, be it videos or anything, right? Create list of 10 to 15 topics, draft scripts in a way that engages you first. So we have a rule internally that anything that does not excite us as content, we delete. So every time we sit on the edit table for a podcast, let's say we do a 2-hour long podcast for which we create a 3-minute long teaser, which is a cinematic teaser that we play at the beginning of the podcast. If any second we feel that I felt like swiping, I felt like not watching it anymore, we kill that second. Right? So anything that does not excite you as the audience, right, you should not keep. I mean, don't create content just for the sake of creating it. It has to have some finesse. It has to have some, some excitement, some vibe. Right? Your content needs to be happening for people to enjoy. If it's not happening to you, it's not going to be happening for other people also. Right? So have very strict approving standards for yourself. If you don't like it, cancel it. Right? So draft those 10 to 15 scripts. Start with creating videos for the first 2 to 3 of them. Show it to friends and family, right? And do not judge yourself directly. Get other people's feedback first. As I said, that you will not like yourself when you start creating it. Get other people's feedback and take feedback genuinely with an open mind, where all you need to improve. The next couple of videos, 4 to 5 videos that you do, implement those feedbacks, right? And then complete those 10 to 15 topics that you had created, and without expecting anything, just keep posting. Right? So those 10 to 15, whatever that you have created, just push them out. Once those 10 to 15 are out, you will automatically be motivated to do more of it. Right? So that's step 3, posting it out, putting it out. Then comes creating a calendar for you. Right? So once you've started creating content regularly, posting them out regularly, getting feedback, engagement, then comes creating that timetable or a calendar for you, right? Which first tells you that what you are supposed to do next week, what you're supposed to post in the next 10 days. You should know exactly what will go out when, at least some visibility for the next 2 weeks. So have that. Initially it's difficult because you're also figuring out a lot of things, but 10-15 content pieces down the line, you will figure out कि अब मुझे क्या करना चाहिए, क्या डालना चाहिए. Right? So have that content calendar for you, and then stick to that calendar for at least 3 months. Right? Whatever calendar that you prepare, stick to that calendar. Do course correction in terms of the way you deliver your message, the way you design your thing, the way you write captions, the way you, or let's say timing of the posting. You post at the time which gives you the most engagement, and Meta and all these platforms give you these insights that when your followers are most active. Right? So you can do those modifications, but do not break the cycle for at least 3 months. You do that consistently, you are a little known name in your category. And if your category is a open canvas, it's a virgin category, nobody's creating content, then you are one of the most known names in the domain also in just 3 months. And it's possible. Now let's talk about the kind of resources you need for doing this. Right? There are very few people who can be very comfortable creating content with their own phones, right? Because the audio is not high quality, the video is not high quality. You can only do so much with editing, right? So not everybody is comfortable creating content with just phones. In that case, if you are, very well established founder, or if you have some resources, hire an agency, a small time agency who could do at least 15 to 20 videos for you, right? The team will come to your office. They will also help you with scripting. They'll do the shoot, do the editing. You can always give them feedback, hire somebody. The best setup would be having an in-house setup, your own camera, your own editor, your own writers, or you yourself write your content. Nothing better than you yourself writing the content, because you have to deliver it, right? We work with a lot of clients, and we help them with personal branding. When we create scripts, they are never comfortable or completely comfortable or at ease while delivering that message. But if they have written something, forget about writing. If they want to say something genuinely, they don't need any script. They don't take breaks. They don't take multiple takes in shoot, and they're very comfortable and at ease while delivering the message. And the throw also comes out really well. That editors will enjoy editing, and the overall impact is really there, right? So write your own content. So the best kind of setup is having everything in house. If you don't have everything in house, hire an agency. They would hardly cost you anywhere between 30 to 50,000, depending on what kind of agency that you want to hire. You could also go with slightly expensive or very expensive agencies if you are if you have deep pockets and you really want to invest in this. So that's the kind of resources that you need. Going forward, I really feel that 2 years down the line, every business will need an in-house editor, an in-house cameraman, an in-house writer, an in-house social media person. It could be one person doing all of this, it could be two people doing all of this, but you will need these skill sets in-house. 3 years back, Raj Shamani had said this in one of the events, that everybody in 2 to 3 years of time will have to create content either by force or by choice. And we are seeing that unfolding right now. If you are not creating content, your competition is creating, right? And look at the benefit of creating content. Let's say you have been creating content for 6 months now. You're already an established name. You got 500,000 views a month, or in total, let's say you have 1 million views across all your content pieces that you have delivered. You will be able to charge premium, number one. You will not have to spend a lot in getting inquiries, because there would be a lot of inbound inquiries. When you start creating content, a lot of people will reach out to you, right? I today get anywhere between 5 to 600 messages on a daily basis, messages of different kinds. Some message just to appreciate, right? If, for example, a video that I've posted day before yesterday has crossed 2 million, right? Now, out of those 2 million people who have seen the video, many of them deeply connected with it, right? So they would send me the same video and will share, this is what I learned from this, thank you so much, this made my day, this solved problem that I was dealing with for the last 1 week. Variety of different kinds of messages. At the same time, a lot of founders also message me, seeking guidance, some seeking investment, some seeking some help, right? So imagine 5 to 600 messages a day. Now, if you are following your niche, let's say you are a tax consultant and you are creating content on tax optimization, personal finance, you will get messages of the people who are struggling with those kind of problems, right? And if you start answering them, some of them could land as clients as well, right? So your inbound inquiry cost, I mean, your inquiry generation cost reduces significantly. Second, since you're a known figure, you can charge premium. Third, new avenues of revenue, right, will start coming up. People will start inviting you to events. They will start inviting you for keynotes if you're really good at speaking, right? You will get collaboration requests. Variety of those things will unfold when you start creating content and you keep at it for 6 months. A lot of things will change. After I started creating content, I stopped advertising for my agency, because we always have a pipeline. We always have people that we have to say no because we're busy right now, right? Or we are building team further to be able to accommodate more clients. So there is always a pipeline. So I'll give you a perspective, in fact, how much content creation helps. Apart from me monetizing my content through paid podcasts or through events that I go and speak, for which I charge, my monthly expense of generating inquiries for my business before I started creating content was anywhere between 2 to 3 lakhs. We used to get about 50, 60 inquiries at that budget, out of which we used to close about 2 to 3 of them. So our cost of acquisition for clients was anywhere between 1 to 1.5 lakhs per client. After I started creating content since last year and a half, I'm not spending anything. Zero spends. So I'm saving those 2 to 3 lakh rupees. My inbound inquiries are more than my paid inquiries that I used to generate by spending 2 to 3 lakh rupees. Right? So organically inquiries are coming. People want to connect with you because you are a little known figure. Right? And it's crazy how people value visibility, how people value known figures. It's really crazy. Right? Everybody is wanting recognition, wanting to be seen, right? Wanting to be seen with people who are famous, right? So if you become a little known name in your industry, you will see variety of different opportunities, people coming your way, right? And to that you can't put any figure, right? It could result into anything. I mean, I've had offers of billionaires that have done podcast wanting to do business, right, wanting to invest in me and stuff like that, which of course we cannot, because those conversations start out of excitement, but then we really need to see if there is an alignment. But this kind of opportunities also come when you start creating content, once you're out there, once you are a little bit of brand that we are talking about. So that's the benefit. So if a consultant who is, let's say, doing 200 hours of work, right, and making, let's say, 5 lakh rupees a month, right, and not creating any content, another consultant who is creating content, charges a little premium, right, can make more than 10 lakhs with serving less than 150 hours. And people are already doing it. I have a lot of friends who are creating content and doing amazing. There's this designer called Ajinkya on Instagram. If you see, he creates content on designs. He decodes logos. He sometimes creates logos for famous brands, sports teams, and then highlights his thoughts, that what was my thought process behind this. And he also takes people through his journey of designing logos, t-shirts, creatives, art, illustrations and stuff. And through that content, he has created such a great brand that a lot of mainstream well-known founders are reaching out to him for creating their logos. Aman Gupta, Ashnil Grover, these kind of people started reaching because he has become a name, one of the leading names, one of the top 3 or top 5 in design category on Instagram at India level. And it's not really difficult if you keep at creating content in a category which is still niche, which is not very populated. You can become one of the top 5 at India level in less than 6 months. And once you are there, you will start receiving messages from this kind of people. He started creating logos with them, started collaborating, started being seen in reels with these famous people. And right now he charges 10 lakh rupees for logo, right? He charges very premium just for designs. Let's say if a brand wants to hire him for social media, he would just do the designs. Copy will come from somebody else, and he would still charge a premium because he is a known name, he's a brand, right? So these are the benefits of creating personal brand. And that value or that premium, right, you can create with variety of different things. The kind of content you're doing, right, you can premiumize your content gradually. The kind of people you are seen with, the kind of people you collaborate with, the kind of platforms you are seen on, the kind of podcast you are invited to, the kind of creators you are partnering with, all of this matter, right? In the journey of personal brand, uh, perception makes a huge difference, right? The whole thing of personal branding depends a lot on the kind of perception that you're creating. After you are regular creating content, you are out there, people know you, then you should equally focus on what kind of perception I want to create, where I want to be seen. I want to be seen taking a session at a college. I want to be seen in Ahmedabad Management Association. I want to be seen at ISRO. I want to be seen on so and so podcast. And when that happens, you can charge premium. Yes, sir.
I was applauding, but the other button got
Oh,
clicked. Yeah.
okay. Right? Yeah. So, that creating premium is also in your hands. And once you are on that side of the table, when you have created a personal brand, or you have started creating a personal brand, a lot of facets of your own self will uncover, right? You will identify your strengths, you will identify where you can premiumize your value delivery, where you can premiumize your pricing, right? What kind of access you can leverage, right? Where you can reach out for a collaboration which would help you increase your pricing somewhere else, etc. For example, how it works in podcasting, right? Since I started as a podcaster, we let's say if a founder wants to appear on a podcast, we charge a certain amount. Now that amount grows every time we achieve something big in our journey. So if we crack a podcast with, let's say, a leading Bollywood actor, and if that podcast lands really well, if we deliver really podcast full of value and podcast that goes viral, right, my pricing will go up. If I'm cracking a podcast with, let's say, a big political leader, right, I go to a different league in people's perception, and it's a game of perception, right? Then people would want to be seen with a podcaster who has done podcast of, let's say, high level minister or a big political figure. Let's say if I do a podcast with a subject matter expert, let's say if I do a podcast with somebody like Sarthak Ahuja or Ankur Warikoo or Tanmay Bhatt, right now these are people who are difficult to crack for somebody in Gujarat. It takes a lot of reaching out, a lot of accessing connections to be able to reach there, and finally getting them agreeing to do this podcast with you. So people know the effort that goes behind getting such heavyweights on your show, right? So with that, you premiumize your positioning. Similarly, let's say if you're not doing a podcast, you're creating content on tax, you can still collaborate with Sarthak Ahuja. You can still collaborate with number one creator who talks about personal finance in Gujarat. You can still collaborate with a creator who does comedy, but leading in their own category. You can always collaborate. For example, there's this astrologer, right, who is also our client now. So he is very active in reaching out to people for collaboration. He would reach out to the humor content creator. He would reach out to other astrologers. He would reach out to podcasters. He would reach out to finance content creators. He would reach out to everyone, but all the leading people in their own categories. He would also reach out to somebody who creates content in Mehendi, doing Mehendi, but leading in their own category, so that he gets to access their audience also, number one. Number two, such high level people are being seen with him, or he's being seen with somebody who is really famous, who is really arrived in their own category, and with that he premiumizes. And the way he premiumizes, I'll tell you, we did his first podcast in 2024, somewhere in May or June. He used to charge 3,000 rupees per consultation. You know how much he charges right now? It's been 2 years. 32,000. He cracked it, right? As soon as the podcast got delivered and he started getting the visibility, he started creating his own content. He grew his own community. Personal brand unka ban gaya. He immediately premiumizes his charges. From 3,200 he went to 7,200. Right? And then 6 months later, he said, we want to do another podcast. We did another one. After that, he went to 15,000, then 20,000, then 25. Right now, he's operating at 32. And he also has a protocol when to increase the price. He goes like, when my consulting is booked 20 days in advance, consistently for 2 months, it's time to upgrade. It's time to go a little more premium. Right? So just through personal branding, he's the same astrologer. Right? He has not done a new course, or has not gone somewhere else to learn anything new that he did not know 2 months back or a year back. He's the same guy, right? But there's a huge difference, 10x difference in what he used to charge 2 years back and what he charges right now, right? So that's the impact of personal branding. So we discussed what constitutes a personal brand: your own thoughts, what you really are, who you really are, the authenticity. Number two, your design language, the way you look, the way you come across, your fonts, your colors, your background, your clothes, the way you groom yourself, the aesthetics. Third is the value of your content. What kind of content you're creating which really makes a difference in somebody's life, solve somebody's problems, so that they would want to follow you, they would want to look up to your content. Fourth, consistency, being regular at whatever frequency you decide, be it 2 per week, 4 per week, or 6 per week, or 12 per week. You be consistent. Whatever you decide, just be consistent. Fifth, constant course correction and feedback reading. Right? Feedback is basically reading the numbers, where people drop, what kind of content gets more engagement, what kind of content does not get any engagement, what kind of people pushes people out of your profile, people unfollow when you post a certain kind of content. For example, whenever I do Q&A on my on my profile, I lose some followers. Every day we lose some followers and we gain some followers. Let's say if I'm gaining 2,000 every day, I'm losing 500 every day. Net I gain 1,500 every day. And that has been my journey for the last couple of months. Whenever I do Q&A, And whenever I post a content whenever I post a story with my wife, I lose followers. Sounds strange, right? Right, sir. Whenever I and I've noticed this, whenever I post content with my wife, right, I lose 1,500 to 2,000 followers that day. The reason being, whenever I do a story, whenever I post a story on Insta with my wife, of course you would want to use one of the trending songs, right, that people are already consuming in reels. So, and Instagram also pushes, when you're using trendy song, Instagram also pushes your story to more number of people. Now, if I have 9 lakh followers, my story usually goes to a lakh to lakh and a half, and these are the people who are used to consuming certain kind of content on my platform. Now if I'm posting this, the first few viewers will immediately react to it, because they love me as a person or as a personal brand. They would immediately press like button or share it with their friends. This is how Jay Thadeshwar's wife looks like, this is how they look together, and stuff like that. And all of that happens. With that, Instagram feels, okay, I need to show this to more number of people. So instead of showing it to lakh and a half, which is daily average, it shows that story to 4 lakh people. And out of those 4 lakh people, there are a lot of sleeping followers who followed me for something. They really liked some video. And they're like, okay, this guy is going to post more such videos. And suddenly they realize, why am I following this guy? He's posting picture with his wife. Unfollow. Right? So वो 4 लाख लोगों को जाता है तो उसमें से 2,000 unfollow कर देते हैं. So this trend I've realized, and I've reduced that kind of posting now. Sometimes you want to engage with your audience one to one, and hence you do question answer, but that also I've reduced. Earlier I used to do every month. So constant reading feedback and the engagement numbers, and correcting yourself, improving yourself. And then comes expanding your horizon of visibility, be seen on other people's platform, collaborate with other creators, different industry. One beautiful thing happens when you create content is you stop judging people, number one. And number two is you be more collaborative. You always want to collaborate. You become a little nice and softer as a person. That's really a plus side of creating content. So even for that, let alone business, for this you should start creating content. So yeah, expand your horizon of being seen on other people's platforms. That gives you more visibility. And then comes expanding your horizon of content. You then start doing carousels. You then start doing statics. You start building more distribution. So right now we operate about 10 to 12 different pages of distribution. So let's say if I've done a podcast, only the best 5 to 6 reels of that 2 hour long podcast, the best 10 minutes goes on my page, on my personal profile. The rest best 20 minutes goes on the Jay Thadeshwar show. Right? But these are the 30 minutes that we feel are the best. But audience could also enjoy other things, right? So we have created other pages where the rest 30 minutes, which we used to ignore completely earlier, we create more cuts, and we post those cuts across those 10 to 12 pages that we've created, and we get visibility from there too. So right now, if you talk about our total reach, we maintain anywhere between 6 to 7 crore views a month, out of which 3.5 to 4 crores come from my page alone. 1 crore comes from the Jay Thadeshwar show. And the rest 1 to 1.5 crore comes from the distribution pages that we have created. Now this 1.5 crore page, 1 to 1.5 crore of reach that we are getting from our distribution pages could be a dream for somebody. Any founder who has not started creating content yet, for them this could be a dream. But right now we are treating that as an additional layer of distribution. And it took me 2 years to cross this, this journey. And not everybody has to go through this journey. You don't need to have 10 distribution pages, but after you have started getting decent engagement, decent reach on your own page, right? Just to experiment different kinds of content, you could create another distribution channel, right? And while everything is going digital, and because of AI, a lot of things are getting automated. Who will win? The people who are seen more will win. We'll get more inquiries, we'll get better rates, we'll get more premium, we'll get more customers, more loyalty, more following, more opportunities, more collaborations. People who are being seen. And I gave you the ingredients and the recipe of how to be among those people who are seen. Right. So with this, I think I'll take a pause and open the floor for questions. It's already 4:30.
Yeah, great, Jay. So any questions, we'll take 2 to 3 questions before we wind it up for the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any questions? Yeah, please, Meet, you can start
Sure.
quickly.
Yes. Good evening, sir. So my question
Good.
is very simple. I want to become a YouTuber, but not out of to earn something, but just out of my hobby.
Right.
And there I have made a list of 2 to 3 topics on which I feel I am good enough to talk. But the thing
Right.
that is stopping me is taking that first step. Like I have bought a tripod and everything is ready. I feel I can talk very fluently in front of the camera, but that first video, that first step on which topic to make, how long to make, that is something that is stopping me. So how do I overcome that?
All right. Let me simplify this for you. So there are 3, 4 questions, right? Which topic to make, how long to make, when to post, whatever, right? So just just write down whatever 5, 10 topics that you really want to. Randomly choose one. Randomly choose one, right? Or choose the one that you're most comfortable with, or the one that you really enjoy, right? And do 10-minute video to start with, right? And sometimes you have to just create boundaries, right, to make our decision simple. Just create that boundary of 10 minutes and start with it. Most creators, at the beginning, what they really struggle is what my immediate circle will think about when I start creating content.
Right.
I really struggled with it because I've been running a business for the last 12 years now, right? And my university circle or my business circle, I used to always fear them कि यार ये लोग क्या सोचेंगे when I start creating content, because I've never been in front of camera like that, and I don't want to look desperate. I don't want to look one of those people who are wannabe or who are trying, right? So all that insecurity plays in your head. So I sat with all the followers that I had, about 500 followers that I had, that out of which who are the people that I care about, right? I care about what they think. In total, there were 52 people, right? I decided I don't want this 52 as my followers. They will still be my friends, राइट? तो अगर मुझे बहुत ऐसा हो रहा है कि यार मैं कर ही नहीं पाऊंगा जब तक ये 50 लोग मुझे फॉलो करते, आई विल गो एंड रिमूव देम फ्रॉम माय फॉलोअर्स लिस्ट, बट आई वांट टू स्टार्ट. And right now they are consistent consumers and most appreciative viewers of my content because they know you as a person also.
Yeah, Bimate.
Yeah. Next.
Yeah, the lady there who has raised her hand. Yeah, Aneri, right? Yeah, you can.
You need to unmute.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hi.
Yeah. Hi, sir. It was a great session, and I completely understand all 3 things, which is value delivery and authenticity and design language. But the thing you have said about visibility with respect, and then that particular thing, I didn't get it. Like visibility with respect, how?
I lost your voice in between. Could you please repeat?
Yeah, yes, sure. So I completely understand what you have said about the design language of the personal brand and the authenticity and value delivery. But the thing you have said about the visibility with respect, I didn't get it. If you can give just one example so I can
Sure. So
understand.
I'll explain. When you start creating content, right, you would want more reach, more views, right? And that chase of views sometimes gets very dangerous and would make you do things that would make you look stupid, right? So don't chase just the numbers, chase numbers with respect. So respect is, as a founder, when you're creating a personal brand, right, or just as a creator, when you're creating a personal brand, respect is as important as the numbers, right? If 500,000 people watch a stupid video of yours, right, and they'll just at the end of it they'll just laugh, right, right, that reach is of no use, right? But only 50,000 people watching your video and getting something out of it and respecting you as a professional values far more than that 500,000 views. So visibility with respect comes from value delivery and consistent value delivery.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
It was
great.
great to.
So Brand Club was blessed by being associated with Ahmedabad Management Association, and we have with us Mr. Unmesh Dikshit, Executive Director, AMA. So, Unmesh bhai, few words from your end.
Thank you very much, all the participants who have been here with us since long. Thank you, our last speaker, Mr. Jay Thadeshwar. It was also very much fun and engaging with you at Ahmedabad Management Association personally over here. And one of my best learning point, I will always remember your sharing about the selfie with wife, which I don't encourage, and my wife is always shouting on me that why you are not putting photo with me. So now I will go and show
You have a reason.
your reason that though I don't have millions of followers, but whatever I have, I don't want to bring it down. Uh,
I'll get you that clipping.
Yes, please. So that will help. And this is a nice perception that the things which are simple for us as a human being or as our relationship, but the brand perceptions are different, and people understand those brand perception in their own way and in their own likes and dislikes. And that is how it is always said that the brand story unfolding across all the customers are the touch points. And these touch points are always very important. And the famous line which we always say is that products are made in the factory, but brands are created in mind. So today it was a mind game created by Brand Club, supported by Ahmedabad Management Association. And thanks to the mind behind this brand mind game is Sanjay Chakraborty sir and all the speakers, those who have been here with us for a day long of this seminar. Thank you all the participants. Keep on watching such seminars physically, offline also, and keep encouraging all of us. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Jay, for being here and accepting
Thank
our
you.
invitation for such a short notice. But we always cherish and treasure every learning which you give, right?
Thank you so much, sir.
Two
Anytime.
things before two things for the audience before we wind up. That kindly do share your feedback on the Insta handles which you have for each speaker, or you can say the initiative which we took. You can write your feedback. And second is that tomorrow we got an offline, in-ground, in-person business and brand quiz at 6 o'clock at Ahmedabad Management Association. You are all invited to be a part of it. Thank you once again, Jay, for being there and for supporting us always.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anytime. Thank you.